everybody, Edo here, and I am excited because we are going to talk about the top 10 games of 2021. And if you're not familiar with my top 10 lists I do at the end of the year, these are exclusively games which I reviewed this year. I may have played other games, I may have, I look at my review list and I pick my top 10. Cool thing is you can then go look at the reviews and see more about the titles and go from there. But that's sort of the approach I take. If you didn't see it, I also posted my top 10 Kickstarter games video either earlier this week or last week, and you can see what I thought of those Kickstarter games. But let us dive right in. So coming in at the number 10 spot is a game called Aroma by Organic Aromas, but this game, super unique, is a box with a bunch of different essence oils, like 20 different smells, floral, plants, flowers, food, and they have some very simple games. Nothing terribly special about the games, but what it entails is people having to smell different smells and try to figure out what they are. And they're not like super obvious, like something like pine versus eucalyptus. Like you're not going to know all these. And it was neat. I really enjoyed it, and the games worked, and there was various ones you could play. My kid continues to ask to play it constantly. It did give some people headaches smelling the strong scents, but just cool. I liked it, and it stood out to me when I was going through this list. So coming in at number 9, I actually have a shared number 9, because these are both small card games with a similar premise. One is Sixpense Bakery by Dan Chris Games. And in this one, you're trying to make crow pies, and there's pies in the middle and a pie in front of you, and you're playing crow cards that have number values from like 1 to 9 and trying to equal 24 points in a pie. And, you can do the one in front of you, or you're working on these ones other people are working on and trying to be the player to get that final crow card. You also have royal cards that give you special abilities. Simple, straightforward. I thought the artwork on the cards was fantastic. The box wasn't as awesome, but the card art was really stellar. I really liked it, and it was fun. The other game is Sky Towers by Exist Games. This is a forever print and play, so you can go download it right now. In this case, you're building up towers, Sky Towers, and trying to equal 21 points, but there are a number of different rules about how to play towers and the numbers and things like that and abilities. Each segment gives you a different ability based on the number it is. And the family had a blast. So both of these games involve laying out cards to count to 21 or 24. I think they both work. And I would say Sky Towers is more interactive than Sixpense Bakery, but I think they both work and are worth checking out. So coming in at the number 8 spot is Cape May by Thunderworks Games. This was one of the more recent reviews I did, but really enjoyed it. It's this sort of laid-back, Concordia-style movement card place. It's like Concordia meets Economy Monopoly, I don't know, historical game. And you're building up Cape May. Different events are happening every round, and you're putting the different, and you're basically you're walking your character through the board and just leveling up different areas to build buildings and shops and earn points. A little bit crunchy, a little bit slow, but it has a certain meander that I liked and I enjoyed, and it's very pretty. So that comes in at number 8. Number 7 is Santorini, New York. This is by Roxley and Spin Masters, and this was an interesting take on Santorini. I'm from New York originally, albeit it's not that thematic, but what I really liked about it is I felt, and not everyone agrees with me, but I thought it did a nice job mixing up Santorini play. So if you're not familiar, this is a tactical game where you're abstract strategy game, tactical game, abstract strategy, where you're moving units around a small area and building up buildings. In Santorini, you have like a specific god you're playing as, but in this case, you have role cards that you're using, so you're like transitioning between different roles more frequently, which are abilities. So you're like, it's basically giving you the, you're doing this movement building game, but with changing abilities, which I like. And then they have this win condition around having the Statue of Liberty. So it's a tweak to the formula of Santorini. I really enjoyed it, hit the table a bunch. And, I thought it did a better job with more players than Santorini did. Not everyone agrees with me. Coming in at number 6 was Rolling Realms. This one was really interesting. Stonemaier Games. This one was interesting because it's a really cool story from the pandemic, making this game based on its IP. But also they reached out to Pencil First Games to talk about using one of our games for a pack. So that's like why I played. But I thought it was a really smart take on roll and writes, because what it does is everyone draws the same 3 realms, and then you play a series of rounds where you're rolling dice. 2 dice and applying the dice to these different realms. But it does the magic trick, which I described in the review of, since we all have the same 3 realms, even though they have different flip and write, roll and write rules, rather. Since we all have the same rules in front of us, and we all have the same dice, even though there's a lot of variation in what you get, ultimately everyone can min-max in their own way and make their own decisions. And I think it really works. I think it's neat that he's continuing to expand it with other companies and other games, and I got a kick out of it. And I think it's a pretty accessible roll and write, and it does a good job of like rolling through a bunch of roll and write mechanics. So next up, coming in at number 5, is Honey Buzz by Elf Creek Games. They don't get much more beautiful. Components don't get much better. I think literally the BGG page, like their descriptor of it is like bees meet economics, which is, I don't know, but it's a worker placement game where you're using workers to get tiles, and then you're building this like little hex hive in front of you, and then you're using abilities to improve what resources you get, and then using resources to buy cards, and moving your little bee around. There's a lot going on. It was too complex. I mean, next to like Atlantis Rising, it's not too complex, but honestly, I think my first Honey Buzz, I think there's a game that better fits the art and the execution than this one, but it's undeniably a really fun game that works really well. It's just a little bit more complex than I think I needed. A little editing there might have gone a long way, but it's still coming in at number 5. Excuse me. Number 4, the most recent of the reviews, is MicroMacro Crime City by Pegasus Games. Won the Spiel des Jahres. Great game. Where's Waldo meets Crime City, mystery. Really simple. I think it's more of an activity than a game, but you have this giant map that's black and white with all infinite details, and you go in and you're trying to trace down what happened to somebody, and you find them on the board, and then you start looking around, and their whole story plays out through the board, and you see them in different places over time. But it's such a big map with so much Where's Waldo detail that even though the same character appears in 5 places, you don't see it when you just look at it. And you've got to search and find. It's really well done. It's really neat, and it's a fun game to play with people. Coming in at number 3 is Fairy Tale Inn by Simon, which is Connect 4 meets board game. And you have a Connect 4 contraption, and instead of literally Connect 4, you're putting in different, maybe small world type characters that are giving you different benefits and different combinations, and they score in different ways. You want them in a row or in a column or all clumped up or all apart, or they hurt the other player. It's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I think it's fantastic, and a great way to introduce people to more complex play with something they're familiar with. I liked it a lot. Coming in at number 2 is Canopy by Weird City Games. Also art by Vincent Dutrait, who has worked with Pencil First Games, but just incredible, one of my favorite board game artists. But in this game, you are essentially it's all about rainforests, and you lay out a set of hidden cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and essentially you look at the hidden cards and you're deciding, do I take or do I go to the next hidden, which has more cards, and then if I skip, I add a card. So basically, it's a little, do I take what I see in front of me, or am I going to keep going and take something else, or take the next one? And then over time, you get familiar with what are in the piles. And then all the set collection in front of you is just different types of set collection. I maybe slightly denser than a Pencil First Games game, but like when I look at that game, I'm like, this is fantastic, right up my alley. I like this play. It works really well. It's gorgeous, very enjoyable, very enjoyable. And I think it's small box. They were trying to do a bunch of. I don't know if the Kickstarter actually donated to Save the Rainforest type funds, but a lot of effort went into minimalistic design, box, trying to minimize the footprint of the game, and just super cool. And I think it really came together. So coming in, number one for me in 2021 is Kōhaku by 25th Century Games. For me, and so Kōhaku is essentially a set collection game, but there's a set of tiles, these gorgeous like resin see-through tiles, like perhaps crazy expensive, but there's a pond in front of you with tiles. You're going to take tiles from the pond and you're going to put them in front of you, and when they're in front of you, you're putting them in different positions in a grid and laying them all out to maximize your points on like these like to be together, these get points for this. You're just doing this tile laying score manipulation, and the way you draw connected tiles and the way the board fills is really interesting player by player. But for me, I looked at that game and I was like, I should have made that game. Not that I could have made that game, but like art direction, components, play. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked it. It was great. And I think they're going to figure out their production, but certainly for me, that was a top game this year. So yeah, that's the list. Those were my games. If you look down, I've listed in the description, and you can also see the other reviews that I like, the full reviews of each of those titles. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.